Hi everyone, it's Nancy here and I'm back with another process video for you, and this is for a challenge that was on the Wheelcrafts for Supplies Facebook page, which is Maggie, Milo and Oh Snap Gonzo's page, and it was about using up the scraps that you had on your desk and around, and I've got quite a lot of various scraps on my desk, so you saw me just sorting those out. You also had to use a piece of cardstock as your background paper. Well, as you all know, I can't deal with plain cardstock, so I set about making a background to add my photos to. So there I am, just using the Archival's coffee ink with my triangle roller stamp, and then I'm just using my wet cement with a plus sign roller stamp. Of course, the next stage is to add some ink splatters, so I'm using my Route 66 Tattered Angels, as you know it's one of my favourites, and then also I'm going to just add some sea foam, and that's Heidi Swap, and that's just because I know that I want to bring a little bit of sort of turquoisey colour into this, so I decided to put that in my background. And then here I am just taking that colour wash espresso from, I can't remember, you know, you've seen it in previous videos, that big bottle, Adiondrak, some kind of word like that. Let's all just forget that I said that. Okay, so I'm going to mount my photos up, and again this is just a scrap that I had on my desk, and I'm going to be using two 4x6 photos. To be honest, they're not the best quality photos, but I wanted to use them just to scrap this story, and I decided I only want a tiny little bit of the green matte. I didn't have any other colours that sort of big enough to matte my photo on that matched, so I thought, well, that'll do, and I always end up tucking bits and that on it anyway, so it's not a big deal. This piece of cork paper I pulled out on a couple of layouts now and not actually used, so technically it's not a scrap, but it was out of I pulled it out of a 6x6 pad of paper, so it needed to find a home. Here I am, just again, this is a cut apart piece from the Simple Stories Destination, and again these are just some pieces that were, I think they were like 3x12. They were like the strips that were meant to go down like the sides of their page protectors. So I decided to add that into the background because the photos are quite dark, because they were both taken at night in really poor lighting on an iPhone. So, and this was the iPhone. I had the iPhone 3, and yeah, these were both iPhone 3s, so they're not the best. So I'm kind of happy with how everything's sort of vaguely looking there, so I decided to stick it down. I cut that edge piece of matte print on, and actually it works really well just sticking it above, so it actually continues that matte print over. And this is similar to you always see me doing, just building up that kind of foundation layers until I'm kind of happy. Again, I'm just looking at the other bits and pieces that I've got laying on my desk, seeing if any of these are going to work. This is a piece of paper from the DIY shop collection. It says today all over it, and I really like how that looks, so I'm just cutting that up to add in 3 different parts of the layout. And as you know, I'm a fan of the 3 clusters, so I'm just adding that there. And then I find this sheet of tags, and I believe this is from the Storyteller 12x12. I believe that's what it's from. I also have the 6x6, which is what the cork paper is from. So I'm just looking at the kind of tags to arrange to make a cluster over that side, and again I cut the end bit off one of those tags, and I'm just tucking it up the top there. So, you know, if I take a scrap off, I'm going to try and use it somewhere on there rather than it go back in my stash. And then I'm just going to tuck that other label at the front there. I know that the challenge was to use cardstock as your background, but I got this far and the green around the photo was really bothering me. So I do just cut the cardstock down and do then end up mounting that on that stripe there. That's, I believe that's October afternoon. So I'm just going to mount it on the back there, but hopefully the guys will be okay with that, because you know, it is still a cardstock one, but it just actually then the whole layout looks so much better. It picks up the horizontal stripe that's, you know, around the photos, and I just think it brings it all together quite nicely. So here I've still got this piece of paper, which is one of the border strips of the pieces which was on the Simple Stories, and it says like explore, discover, escape, go, see, do, relaxation, vacation and getaway, I think. And I decided to fussy cut that out because I think I'm going to add it to this layout. I apologise, I could have sped this piece up a little bit more because I am just fussy cutting around. Originally I was going to place it on the bottom of this layout, but that's not actually where I end up putting it, because it has the word vacation on it, and you know that's not a word that we use really in the UK. We have holidays where I know, like, you know, America, which is, you know, this is American brand of paper, that's what you call, like, you know, your Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving, that kind of stuff. So I didn't really like that, so I am going to, you know, change that by where I put it on the layout. So I'm actually going to put it just at the bottom of those photos, so I can just cut that off there and it not bother me too much. These are two photos from a night out we had when in LA. One of them is Carney's hot dogs and hamburger, and I'm sure you guys in the States sort of know. It's an old I don't know if it's a railway cart. I think it might be a railway cart or a tram. I think it's a railway cart, and it's kind of just stuck up on like a sort of plinth thing, and you know it's kind of quite a place to kind of eat. And so we decided to go out there and eat one night before we went to the Comedy Store. I know that I've shared a previous layout about our experience at the Comedy Store, which wasn't great because, you know, being English at the Comedy Store, yeah, it's not the best thing when you're on the front row. Also, that night I had like a killer headache. You know, when like we'd bought the tickets for the Comedy Store before we went, and we kind of had everything printed out, ready to go, and then I had like a killer headache, and yeah, it just wasn't gonna work. So, but we did manage to stay out for a little bit, but not as long as we were planning on it. So that's what the two photos are, and I'm going to just kind of journal about that. You did see me there putting that life acetate on there. I nearly used it on this layout as well. I was thought, yes, I can use it in my title. My title will be Nightlife. But again, I couldn't get it to work. Because it's transparent, it just looked odd with all the other layers on it. So that didn't work for me. So we'll keep persevering with that one. Here I am just going through my die cut box, seeing if there's anything that's going to work in there. My apologies because I am now texting, and I'm just found another tag that I've got there, and I'm just going to add that to that top cluster. And that's a little sticker that came in the print shop acetates, vellums, and it said what a fun guy, but I cut the guy part off and put what a fun. I know it doesn't really make sense, but it's kind of say what a fun, and then my title is going to say night on the town. And basically I'm going to write about how it wasn't really a fun night on the town. So I know it's not really obvious, but to me it kind of worked. I put that little light bulb on there because, one, I didn't know how I was going to use it, but also it was going to be kind of like, my journaling is going to be like, okay, whose bright idea was it to go out on this night, and then I end up getting a headache, etc, etc. So that's how that's going to work. I apologise again, I am in the caravan if you can hear any noise, because every time I seem to film a video we have a flyover with a plane. It's very bizarre. So that's what you can hear in the background. I do apologise, hopefully it'll fly over sooner. I now pull out my buttons and brad box and decide that I want to make a feature. I've got lots of bits and pieces in here. They've been hanging around for a while, so I decided to make a bit of a feature of them. So I'm going to pull out a large selection of pieces, and this is kind of Mercy Tierra Tracy in one of her previous videos used all of those chili bean soup wood sprinkles. I've got one included there. Oh no, two included there, but she did use like a whole packet of them. So, and I really liked how that looked. So I decided that I'm going to cluster just at the bottom here a large selection, a large grouping of different flair and sprinkles and buttons. So that is what I'm doing there. I'm going to fuss with this quite a lot, and I'm then going to end up moving that light bulb a little bit as well. Here I am pulling out some brads to add to the cluster as well. I'm just trying to work out how everything's going to fit there. And so of course I'm pulling out my pokey tool, and then I'm going to just pop those flare up on some 3D foam. And I think that Hey You one is actually an old one that came in a Studio Calico kit, so it's been in my stash for quite a while. There's some really old American Crafts brads in there. There's also really old basic grey brad. Those little buttons came, they're like a black sparkly button, and they came in an old Scraptastic kit. So I'm really getting bits and pieces used up on here. And I know that the main kind of thing was to use up all the scraps that are on your desk, but actually I've been hoarding some of these different kind of brads and buttons and stuff, so I was happy to get them used up and on this layout. I do play about a little bit with how I'm going to arrange that cluster, and it probably doesn't show up as much as it would have if there wasn't so much busy kind of background paper, but I'm really happy with how it looks and how it actually came out. I do have a bit of an issue trying to get some of those brads through several layers of paper, but overall I'm really happy with how that's come together. I'm just going to pull out one of those little tags, I think that says smile. Again, it doesn't really kind of 100% go with the layout, but I put the smile down below as well, especially because, you know, we're going to the comedy club, and kind of like smile, grin and bear it, you've got a headache, you're really not in the mood for this, but, you know, we've paid money, we've come all this way, we're going to do it, kind of thing. So, that's kind of what the journaling is going to reflect. I'm just adding another little brad up there into that, just above the photos, just to fill in that gap and just bring that up a little bit, and I'm really happy with how that looks. I think it works well. I did then contemplate about putting a brad up in there in the top corner, so I'm thinking about what I'm going to do there, but decide that I'm just going to place the date up there, which is using these Tim Holtz Ideology black little stickers, and they're great. I don't think I've used one sheet of them yet. So I am now going to be looking through my letters, and I pull out these October afternoon ones, and they are kind of they've got a pink sort of cream stripe, and they are too pink for this layout, and and I did think about having a rummage around and try and find another kind of layout letter, but I decide I've got them, I might as well use them. This is the problem, you wait for the perfect thing, and then you never use them. So what I'm actually going to end up doing is, I'm just going to stick the second part of my title, which says on the, so night on the town. So what a fun night on the town. And then I'm just going to take my watercolours and watercolour over those stickers, those thicker kind of letters, just to tone them down a little bit, and I really love how that looks. So I've just moved that down a little bit, and I'm now going to add a couple more brads to that cluster. And again, this is what I said, I did fuss quite a lot with that piece, just to make sure it all worked in, and actually ended up covering up a lot of the paper and tags that I stuck under there, but isn't that often the way? So I'm just going to paint over them with a very light wash of a brown sort of tan colour, and the pink is still going to kind of resist that and come through, and I really like how they look actually, really nice and sort of distressed look. So that is it for this layout. I did post it onto the Facebook page, so if anyone didn't see it, thanks for coming and watching on here. You're now going to just see me drop some of that espresso ink around. It kind of what I'm doing a lot lately, so apologise if you're getting bored about that. And then just do some sprinkles. I will put some close-up pictures at the end. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be back again soon. Bye!